Juan Eugenio-se of SpoCom, and I'm here with Troy from 5-Axis, and we're here to talk about what Troy has created here with the SpoCom trophies, and he's going to give us a quick tour first of his facilities here in Huntington Beach, California.
All right. Well, we'll start here where pretty much all the designs begin, obviously in the design room. All right, so this is basically where everything begins, all the creative part of the company. Right now, what we have here is we do everything in CAD. So Hemming's got the actual trophy, the first one, I guess, up on the screen here, and so that's how we created the file. Although it's pretty much a 2D object, we like to mock everything up in 3D so we can see what it looks like, when we're going to complete the project. But because it's, like I said, it was a 2D thing, it's basically flat pieces of metal, and we just laser cut the windows out, or in this case, we actually water jet cut it. So, although it's not necessary to have a 3D model because we're not making it out of a 3D object, I guess, it's always good to be able to see it. So. All right. People always wonder what these things are. I don't know if you can even see them, but these are like speed forms. They're basically paint studies so that we can see what a color would look like on a car. Over here, these are just samples of what we do for our clients. I mean, this is basically beaded styrofoam. It's like literally what a beer cooler is made out of, and what these are styling studies for front aerodynamic parts, like the lower valance on the rear and then the front chin spoiler. So instead of cutting a whole car, we just cut this for the client so they can see roughly in 3D what the part's going to look like. So coming out here, this place is basically split up into different kind of rooms or like zones. And in here is pretty much where we do all the hardcore, concept car builds and stuff like that. The reason why we build it in here is because we can pull this wall down here and fully secure the area off. We have two surface plates in here. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff on here right now, but basically they're completely flat surface tables so that we can reference things off of, and then we have these measuring arms up on the top that we can actually take digital points in space. It's kind of funny, but you can actually see this is how the trophy begins out. Like I was saying, it's really a 2D object. It's only a piece of sheet metal with the windows punched out. But this is before we actually put that one bend in here. So this, we actually do that here. We just put it on a brake and we bend this over. This we just use for a paint study, so that's why it's kind of painted already. And then there's a little screw up here. Sometimes the machine goes awry and cuts out a little corner. So moving out into this area here, this is the 3D, or the 5-axis mill. This machine here is capable of cutting a complete vehicle. So when I say complete vehicle, I mean just a regular size car in one setup. The reason why they call this a 5-axis machine, let's taking this car as an example. If on a standard 3-axis setup, the bit comes down from the top and it only moves in X, Y, and Z. As you can imagine, you could not cut out this hole here with a bit that was coming out like this. So that's where the 5-axis comes in. There's two additional axes. One is the pivotal axis, and the other one's the rotational axis. So if you can imagine, the bit can come in here, pivot over in here, and then it can come out and cut this area here. Because on a 3-axis setup, you would have to actually rotate the part. In this case, the whole head rotates. So it's a real big advantage, so that way you can keep this thing secure and not have to move it. Let's come back to this area. So this is an extension of the machine shop. Basically, this is more the mechanical, non-CNC parts. Right here, this is traditional mill and lathe, and then we have another 3-axis CNC machine. So that's the machine I was telling you that only cuts from the top. This is kind of like the show car area. This is where we keep a lot of our current cars. There's a concept car under there, and then these are other production vehicles, and that's another show car up there that we've done for Scion. So a lot of times we'll leave cars here because they don't have room to keep them. What we're doing here is we're just fitting up an aero kit on the front here. This is something that we, manufacture. So we're doing some test fits and stuff, trying to make sure all the tolerances and all that are good. So, one of my guys is in here right now trying to get this to fit a little bit better and do some final testing. So back here, this is the paint area. So we have two zones here. We have a kind of the prep zone. This is where we prepare the car before we go to final color or paint, because this is a little bit messier over here. We can do a lot of sanding, priming, surfacing, and all that stuff out here in this zone. And then once it's all cleaned up, ready to go, and it's final primed and all ready for paint. It goes into this here, which is this is the paint booth. So this is super, much cleaner, more dust-free environment, and this is what we call a downdraft booth. So the air comes from the top and it goes across the vehicle, which in this case would look like is the table, and then it evacuates the air underneath the vehicle. So it's a really good painting system because it pulls all the contaminants underneath the car. So out here, this is like the fiberglass area. We're not really heavily doing any kind of fiberglass work, so that's why we got cars all parked in here. Yeah, this little thing here, this is one of the soapbox vehicles. This is one of the guys that works for me is actually was in the race 2 years, and as you guys know, we were in it last year. So hopefully we can get our car over to the show. So we're heading over to the wood shop right now, another soapbox car. So this is the wood shop over here. Basically, we do a ton of stuff in here, a lot of pattern making. This is where we do a lot of the cutting and stuff like that. Got all the table saws, complete dust evacuation system, so we can pretty much keep dust level as much under control as possible. This machine over here is actually pretty cool. It's called a vacuum form machine. So what it does, it takes a thin sheet of plastic, heats it up, and then it sucks it down over a form like this. This is actually a lens for the FRS. So if you look at it, and if you guys know the car, this is the left rear tail light lens. So what we did is we take a piece of red plastic, heat it up under these infrared lights, bring it down over this form, draw a vacuum on it, and so it basically sucks down over this form. So when we remove it, we basically have a replication of this shape, but in like an 1/8 inch piece of plastic. So in essence, it becomes a lens. Pretty cool tool. You can do a lot of stuff with that. And that's pretty much it, except in there, that's just my cars and my stuff, my projects, and all the things that will never get worked on. But hey, I like to think I will someday work on them. But so I'm kind of like a Z fanatic. So I have a 240Z in there and a 300ZX. But yeah, the 240 it needs a little work before it gets back on the road. But again, one day I hope to finish it up. So that's pretty much it. That's the tour of the back of the shop. And I don't know. Hope you enjoyed it.